In this exercise, we're going to be retrieving model dimensions to be able to automatically add the dimensions to the part. So let's get started. I have opened the retrieving model dimension.idw out of the chapter 11 folder. So let's come in here and start adding the dimensions to this part. I can either click on it and right click and go to retrieve dimensions, or I can come up here to the top and say retrieve. Remember, left to right, top to bottom. We start out with the view we're going to add dimensions to. Then it asks us to select dimensions. So you select the red arrow there, and you basically select what you want to keep. You can come through here and select one at a time, or you can just kind of window it and say, give me every dimension. We hit OK. And so now that we see, we have our dimensions in here. So what I always do is I come back in here as soon as it gets done, and I start placing them where I really want them. Inventor doesn't do a very good job of automatically placing the dimensions, and there is no real way to control this. These dimensions were not placed here in the sketch, so to speak, as much as they were just created and they were brought in this particular order. So there's no real way to control the way they appear on screen. Some dimensions you may not want to show like that, so you can actually delete. You can see here's like the depth of the hole and things like that. I would actually use a hole note for that. So I'll go through and delete all the dimensions that discuss the holes. I'll go through and rearrange my dimensions so that they're in proper order. I'll bring down our radial dimension here. If you didn't want to have this go to the center, if you actually wanted to measure off of this line, you could change where this dimension goes to. I said, I really want this to go over here instead of over here, or however you want it to go. You can move that around. You can delete this dimension and bring in another one. Overall, you'll notice that this is a very good part. This came in really well, no problem. If I come up here and I do the exact same thing to this view up here, you'll notice that I don't get very good dimensions at all. It's pretty pitiful, actually. And reason is because this part was created with this face here, this sketch here. And so you're only really going to get the information that is relevant from the original sketch. So for the most part, it does the best it can, but sometimes it doesn't always do a very good job. You can see there's a few things you can salvage from that. And the same with this view over here. If I come over here and say retrieve, and I want to retrieve all of this, it only gives you the one dimension there to keep. So play with this, rearrange your dimensions, bring them in here, and see how it is to delete dimensions, move them around. One of the things you'll notice is, for whatever reason, it drives me crazy, they don't center their dimensions automatically when they retrieve them. So I always like to come in here and bring them back to center. You'll notice Inventor will kind of snap on your center line here of your dimension, and then it'll also snap on this other dimension over here to line things up, because it doesn't do a very good job. So I like to come in here, recenter everything, make it look nice, and get everything kind of where I want it. You get everything where you want it, you can hit save, and that's all there is to it. In the next exercise, we'll go over how to edit these, but for the most part, you can see how easy it is to bring in these dimensions. I did want to show you a couple more here. So I have retrieving dimensions 2. And retrieve this one. Select my part. See, once again, I get a pretty good selection of all the dimensions I need to create this part. I may want to move them around. I may even want to change which circle these are on. So for example, I have this radius here, and then I have the inside and outside, this little object here. I may want to remove this and have both of these over here. I could have one on one side, one on the other. However you want your style to be. It's not really important for this exercise. See, that came through pretty well, how it did that. But overall, it didn't give us what we need to create it. We still need the overall dimensions of this part. And then one last one I wanted you to do is come in here and retrieve this part here. And you'll notice that you get absolutely nothing hardly. You get this one little lip here, and that's all you get. So I did want to show you that some you'll get everything you need, some you'll get part of what you need, and then some parts you'll get almost nothing. It's really based on how it was created and what view it was created in and how many sketches were done on it. The more sketching that you do to create a part, the more dimensions will come over. It tries to bring over extrusion dimensions and things like that it automatically applies. But for the most part, the main view that you sketch in is the best view that it's going to bring it over in. So real simple parts like this, and sometimes even complicated parts where there's not a good sketch of it, you'll see this happen over and over again. Try this out with these 3 exercises to retrieve the dimensions from all 3 of them. See how many you can retrieve and see how many that you actually can see that you want to use again. Because some of these you'll retrieve and you'll say, oh, I don't even need that dimension, or I don't like where that dimension is dimension 2. So you'll be able to go back and forth and delete some of them, move some of them, and then see where you need to add dimensions that we'll go over here in just a little bit.